street, and everybody that you meet has an original point of view. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day, if we could learn to work and play and get along with each other. You got to listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm on the street. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make things better by working together. It's a simple message and it comes from the heart. Oh, believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day, if we can learn to work and play and get along with each other. You got to listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm on the street. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make things better by working together. It's a simple message and it comes from the heart. Oh, believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day, if we could learn to work and play and get along with each other. What a wonderful kind of day, if we could learn to work and play and get along with each other. What a wonderful kind of day, what a wonderful kind of day.
Arthur's Tooth, read by Marcia Gay Harden.
Finally, Arthur had a loose tooth. He wiggled it with his tongue. He wiggled it with his finger. He wiggled it all the time. One afternoon, while Arthur was wiggling his tooth during math, he heard a loud scream. Francine jumped up. "My tooth just fell out on my desk," she cried.
"Class, how many of you have lost a tooth?" asked Mr. Marco.
Everyone but Arthur raised their hands. When Arthur got home, he didn't want any milk and cookies. "What's the matter, Arthur?" his mother asked.
"I'm the only one in my class who still has all his baby teeth," he complained.
"Don't worry," said his sister D.W. "Before you know it, all your teeth will fall out and you can get false teeth like Grandma Thora."
Arthur persuaded Father to make a special dinner for him: steak, corn on the cob, and peanut brittle.
"I can't believe one little tooth can take so long to fall out," said Father.
The next day, Muffy brought in a whole jar of her teeth for show and tell.
"I got $2 for each one," she said. "One from my dad and one from my mom. I put it all in the bank to earn interest. I'm waiting for my investment to double." "Not me," said Francine. "I'm spending mine."
Later, the class saw a movie called Nasty Mr. Tooth Decay.
"Between the ages of 4 and 7, the announcer began, everyone begins to lose their deciduous or baby teeth."
"Everyone except Arthur," shouted Francine.
The whole class laughed. Arthur slid down in his seat. He wiggled his tooth as hard as he could. In the cafeteria, Francine practiced her new tricks.
"Look," she said, "I could keep my teeth closed and still drink through a straw, and I can squirt water, too. Hey, everybody line up for a squirting contest. Everybody except Arthur. Babies with baby teeth can't squirt water."
By the next day, Arthur was convinced his loose tooth would never fall out. His friends tried to help. Buster brought carrots for Arthur's lunch. Sue Ellen showed Arthur how to put raisins over his teeth to make it look as if some were missing. The Brain invented a special machine.
It's a tooth remover," he explained. "Just put your head in here."
Even Binky Barnes wanted to help.
"I can knock that tooth out in 1 second flat," he said.
That night, Arthur spent a lot of time in front of the bathroom mirror. He got up very early the next morning to wiggle his tooth again.
See how much looser it is? He told his parents.
That's it, said his mother. You need professional help. You're going to the dentist today.
Going to the dentist? Asked Francine. Boy, do I feel sorry for you.
There were other patients waiting to see Dr. Sozio.
Sorry, said the nurse. We're running late. Have a seat.
Arthur, you were smart to bring a book, said Mother.
Finally, it was Arthur's turn.
Oh, I wish all my patients were as good at waiting as you are, said Dr. Sozio. How old are you now, Arthur?
7, said Arthur, and I still have all my baby teeth.
I was 8 before I lost my first tooth, said Dr. Sozio. Everyone is different.
Really? Said Arthur. Dr. Sozio examined Arthur's loose tooth.
This one should fall out very soon, he said. Just wait.
Arthur got back to school just in time for recess.
Still have all your baby teeth? Francine asked. Then you can't be in the game. I'm the tooth fairy. Only people who have lost teeth could play.
If you're the tooth fairy, said Arthur, I think I'll keep all my teeth. I can wait. He started over to the softball game.
Whoever I touch, said Francine, loses a tooth.
She flapped her arms.
The one who loses the most wins.
Francine twirled around and touched Buster. She twirled faster and touched Sue Ellen. Twirling even faster, she slipped and hit Arthur.
Sorry, Arthur, Francine said, but I told you, no babies allowed.
Arthur picked up his glasses. It's okay, he said. It's probably the nicest thing you've ever done for me.
What do you mean? Asked Francine.
Arthur just smiled.
Arthur's Pet Business, read by Sherry O'Terry.
You've been looking at puppies for months, said DW. When are you going to ask Mom and Dad if you can have one? I'm waiting for just the right moment, said Arthur. So promise not to say anything. That night at dinner, Father asked, What's new? Arthur wants a puppy, said DW. Blabbermouth, said Arthur. A puppy is a big responsibility, said Father. I can take care of it, said Arthur. We'll think about it, Mother said. That means no, explained DW. After dinner, Mother and Father did the dishes. Can you hear what they're saying? Asked Arthur. They're worried about the new carpet, whispered DW. Suddenly the door opened. We've decided you may have a puppy if you can take care of it, said Father. Wow, said Arthur. But, said Mother, first you need to show us you're responsible. How will I ever prove I'm responsible? Asked Arthur. The best way I know is to get a job, said DW. Then you can pay back the $7 you owe me. Ka-ching! Went her cash register. Arthur wondered what kind of job he could do. You could work for my dad at the bank, said Muffy. He needs some new tellers. If I were you, I'd get a job at Joe's junkyard crushing old cars, offered Binky Barnes. Do something that you like, said Francine. That gave Arthur an idea. I'll take care of other people's pets, said Arthur. Then Mom and Dad will know I can take care of my own. Arthur and Francine put up signs to advertise his new business. His family helped too. Arthur waited and waited. Then, just before bedtime, the phone rang. "Hello?" he said. "Arthur's Pet Business. How may I help you?" "Yes." No." "When?" "Where?" "Great," said Arthur. "Hooray! I'm going to watch Mrs. Wood's dog while she's on vacation, and I'll earn $10. "Oh, no," said D.W. "Not nasty little Perky." "Isn't that the dog the mailman calls Jaws?" asked Father. "That's Perky," said D.W. The next morning, Arthur ran all the way to Mrs. Wood's house. "Right on time," said Mrs. Wood. "Grrr!" growled Perky. "She hasn't been herself lately," said Mrs. Wood. "I'm worried." "I'll take good care of her," said Arthur. "We'll be best friends." "Grrr!" growled Perky. "Here's her schedule and a list of things she doesn't like," said Mrs. Wood. "I'll see you next Sunday." Arthur did his best to make Perky feel at home. Every day he brushed her. He tried to fix her favorite foods. They took lots of long walks, day and night. Perky made sure they had the whole sidewalk to themselves. "You look exhausted," said Mother. "Maybe taking care of a dog is too much work." "Any dog I get'll be easier than Perky," said Arthur. Word of Arthur's pet business got around. On Monday, the Macmillans asked Arthur to watch their canary, Sunny. On Tuesday, Prunella gave Arthur her ant farm. On Wednesday, the Brain asked Arthur to take care of his frogs while he went on vacation. Best of all, on Thursday, the amazing Larry asked Arthur to keep Cuddles, his trained boa constrictor. Animals were everywhere, until Mother put her foot down. "I want all these animals in the basement now," she ordered. By bedtime, all the pets were downstairs. All except Perky. Perky slept in Arthur's room. On Saturday, Buster asked Arthur to go to the movies. "I can't," said Arthur. "When I finish cleaning these cages, it'll be feeding time. And anyway, it's Perky's last night with me, and she seemed sick. I don't want to leave her." "Well, I'll bet you're happy today," said D.W. the next morning. "You get rid of Perky and collect $10. "I can't believe it," said Arthur. "But I'm going to miss Perky." "Arthur, Mrs. Wood just called and she said she's on her way over," said Mother. "Now wait here, Perky," ordered Arthur. "I'll go and get your leash." When Arthur went back into the kitchen, Perky was gone. "Here, Perky! Perky!" called Arthur, but Perky didn't come. "She's not in the basement," called Father. "She's not in the backyard," said D.W. "She's lost," said Arthur. "Uh-oh," said D.W. "You're in big trouble." "Arthur, Mrs. Wood is here," called Mother. "Hi, Mrs. Wood," said D.W. "Guess what? Arthur lost Perky." "My poor little darling is lost?" asked Mrs. Wood. "Don't worry," said Father. "Arthur's looking for her right now." Suddenly, they heard a bark. "Everybody come quick!" called Arthur. "Look!" said Arthur. "Perky's had puppies!" "No wonder she's been acting so strange," said Mrs. Wood. "You've done a wonderful job taking care of Perky when she needed a friend the most. How can I ever thank you?" "A reward might be nice," suggested D.W. "Shush!" said Mother. "Here's the money I owe you," said Mrs. Wood. "And how would you like to keep one of Perky's puppies as a special thank you?" "I'd love to," said Arthur. "If I'm allowed." "Of course," said Mother. "You've earned it." "Wow!" said Arthur. $10 in my very own puppy! I can't believe it! Neither can I, said DW. Now you can finally pay back my $7. Ka-ching! Went her cash register.
Arthur's Computer Disaster, read by Clay Aiken.
What's the game about? Asked DW. A haunted sunken ship, said Arthur, with skeletons, ghosts, and sharks. Sounds spooky, said DW. Mom, please, begged Arthur. Oh, all right, said Mom, but finish your dinner first. Arthur finished his dinner in a jiffy. Once Arthur started playing Deep Dark Sea, he couldn't stop. Time for bed, said Dad. But Dad, I almost found the thing, said Arthur. When I find the thing, I can win stuff. You can find the thing tomorrow, said Dad. It's bedtime. I'm ready for bed, said DW sweetly. The next morning, Buster came over to play Deep Dark Sea. Sorry, boys, said Mom. It's tax season. I need my computer all day. Just then, the phone rang. It was for Mom. I have to run to the office, she said. And don't touch my computer. After Mom left, Arthur and Buster stared at the computer. I know what you're thinking, said DW. But I'm so close to finding the thing, said Arthur. You could probably find it before your mom gets home, said Buster. I'm telling Dad, warned DW. I'll give you my desserts for a whole week, said Arthur. And play dollhouse with me whenever I say so? asked DW. Yes, grumbled Arthur. And call me your Royal Highness? asked DW. Don't push it, said Arthur. Arthur loaded the game. Look out for the Squid Squad, yelled Buster. I'm running out of oxygen, said Arthur. Look, said Buster, a treasure chest. That's it, screamed Arthur. That's the thing. I found it. Let me open it, shouted Buster. I found it, argued Arthur. They both dove for the mouse. The keyboard crashed to the floor. Uh-oh, said Arthur. You're in big trouble, said DW. Just then the phone rang. Everyone jumped. It was Mom. I won't be home until tonight, she said. Everything all right? Fine, just great, said Arthur. You know Mom can tell when you're lying, whispered DW. Maybe we can fix it before she gets home, said Arthur. Arthur looked through the computer manual. There's nothing in here about Deep Dark Sea accidents, he said. Are you sure you have the right manual? asked DW. The brain can fix anything, said Buster. Let's ask him. Alan's not home, said the brain's mom. They checked the library. They checked the museum. Just when they were about to give up, they found him. Are you doing a science experiment? asked Buster. No, I'm skipping stones, said the brain. It's fun. Everyone went back to Arthur's house. The brain examined the computer. Said the brain. He shook his head. That bad? asked Arthur. It must be, said the brain. I can't find the problem. Well, thanks for trying, said Arthur. Now you're in really, really big trouble, said DW. If the brain can't fix it, who can? said Buster. I have an idea, said Arthur. Arthur explained his problem to the computer expert. Then the computer expert explained how much a house call and hourly fees would cost. That's more birthday money than I'll ever see in my whole life, said Arthur. I'm doomed. We're all doomed, said DW, because now Mommy will lose her job and we won't be able to keep our house, and we'll all have to live in the cold on the street, and we'll all get ammonia and probably die, and it's all your fault, Arthur. That evening, Arthur hardly touched his dinner. Hi, I'm home, called Mom. Mom, how about a game of cards? asked Arthur. And a family bike ride. Don't have time, sweetie, said Mom. I have tons of work. Mom headed for the computer. Arthur felt sick. Arthur ran after Mom. DW ran after Arthur. Buster ran home. Just as Mom's finger was about to hit the on button, Arthur yelled, Stop! I was playing Deep Dark Sea, and the screen went blank. I'm sorry, I wrecked it. It's all my fault. That happens to me all the time, said Mom. Did you jiggle the switch? Mom jiggled the switch and the game came on. Why didn't you call me? asked Mom. Always call me with your problems. I thought you'd be mad, said Arthur. I'm not mad, said Mom. I'm disappointed. Am I going to get punished? asked Arthur. Of course, said Mom. You did something you weren't supposed to do. Make the punishment really good, said D.W. No computer games for a week, said Mom. Now get ready for bed. I'll be up to say goodnight in a few minutes. Arthur and D.W. did as they were told. Then they waited for what seemed like a very long time. Mom, called Arthur. Time to tuck us in. In a minute, said Mom. The sharks are attacking. Maybe we should tuck ourselves in tonight, said D.W. Good idea, said Arthur. I'll be right up, called Mom, as soon as I blast these skeletons from the treasure chest. Good night, Mom, called D.W. Good night, Mom, called Arthur.
Arthur's Baby, read by Kelly Ripa.
"We have a surprise for you," said Mother and Father. "Is it a bicycle?" asked Arthur. "We're going to have a baby," said Mother. "Ooh," squealed D.W. "I love babies." "A baby?" said Arthur. "Yes, in about 6 months," said Father. "Plenty of time for us all to get ready." Arthur's friends had lots of advice. "Better get some earplugs," said Binky Barnes, "or you'll never sleep." "Forget about playing after school," said Buster. "You'll have to babysit." "You'll have to change all those dirty diapers," said Muffy. "And you'll probably start talking baby talk," said Francine. "Doo-doo gaga boo-boo." For the next few months, everywhere Arthur looked, there were babies. More and more babies. "I think babies are taking over the world," said Arthur. "Don't look now," said Buster, "but you could be in for triple trouble." One day after school, D.W. grabbed Arthur's arm. "I will teach you how to diaper a baby," she said. "Don't worry about diapers," said Mother. "Come sit next to me. I want to show you something." "Is that really me?" asked Arthur. "Yes," said Mother. "You were such a cute baby." "Look," said D.W. "This is me with Mommy and Daddy. Don't I look adorable?" That Saturday morning, Mother took out her suitcase. "Where are you going?" asked Arthur. "The baby could come any day now," said Mother. "I need to be ready for the hospital." "Here," said D.W., "something for you to look at while you're there." Sunday morning, Arthur and D.W. found Grandma Thora fixing breakfast. "You have a new sister," she said. "Yippee! Yippee! Yippee!" said D.W. "She'll be just like me." "That's what I'm afraid of," said Arthur. The next day, they went to the hospital to see the new baby. "We named her Kate," said Father. "I think she has your nose, Arthur." "I think she has D.W.'s mouth," said Arthur. On Tuesday, Mother and Father brought Kate home. Everyone was acting like they'd never seen a baby before. Every time the doorbell rang, more presents arrived. "They're not for you, Arthur," said D.W. "They're for the baby." "Arthur, don't you want to try holding Kate?" Mother asked. "Can I have another turn first?" asked D.W. "It's Arthur's turn," Mother said. "I'd rather look," said Arthur. "It's just as well," said D.W. "Arthur doesn't know beans about babies." A few days later, Mother needed some help. "I have to go upstairs," she said. "Arthur, would you watch Kate?" "Me?" asked Arthur. "What do I do?" "Don't worry," said D.W. "I'll take care of everything." When the doorbell rang, D.W. answered the door. "Arthur can't play," she said. "He has to babysit. But you can come in and see my baby." "Don't get too close, because you all have germs, and be quiet," D.W. said. "My baby is sleeping." "Look," said Francine. "She opened her eyes." "Stand back," said D.W. "She wants her bottle."
Kate drank her bottle in a flash. Then she began to cry. "Everyone remain calm," said DW. DW gave Kate a kiss. Kate cried louder. DW bounced Kate. Kate screamed. "Arthur, quick, do something," DW said. "She's your baby, too." "All of a sudden, she's my baby," said Arthur. "Why is she crying?" asked DW. "She's trying to tell you something," said Arthur. "What?" asked DW. "Listen carefully," said Arthur. "Burp," said Kate. "Is everything all right?" asked Mother. "It is now," Arthur answered.
Arthur's Family Vacation, read by Daisy Fuentes.
It was Arthur's last day of school. Mr. Ratburn gave the class a surprise spelling test. All the other classes were having parties. "Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for," said Mr. Ratburn. "Report cards and school's out." Everyone cheered. "I can't wait for baseball practice to start," said Francine. "I'm taking a college computer course," the brain announced. "I'll really miss you at Camp Meadowcroak this year, Arthur," Buster said. "I wish I didn't have to go on vacation with my family," said Arthur. "There'll be nothing to do, and no one to do it with." "You'll have DW," Buster said, smiling. "For a whole week. Don't remind me," said Arthur. Arthur's family spent that night packing. "I wish I could take my dollhouse," said DW. "I wish Buster could come," said Arthur. "This is a family vacation," said Mother. "All we need for fun is each other," said Father. "Let's take my swing set," said DW. "We can all use that." "Well, we're all packed," Father said the next morning. "Where's Arthur?" "He's on the phone with Buster," said Mother. "For the 100th time," DW added. "Before we leave," said Father, "does anyone need to use the bathroom?" "This is your last chance," said Mother. "Don't look at me," said DW. "On our way at last," Mother smiled. "A whole week of no cooking." "And no dishes," said Father. "A whole week without my best friend in the whole wide world," moaned Arthur. "Once you're at the beach, you'll feel better," Father said. "Are we there yet?" asked DW. "I have to go to the bathroom." Arthur spent the rest of the trip thinking about how much fun Buster must be having at camp. "We're here," said Mother. "Welcome to the ocean view," said the manager. "Where's the ocean?" asked Father. "Just across the highway behind that shopping center," the manager pointed. "But there's a pool right here." "Well, I guess I'll go swimming," said Arthur. "Me too," said DW. "Wait for me." "Let's see our room first," said Mother. "You mean we all have to stay in this puny little room?" asked DW. "Don't worry," said Mother. "We'll only be sleeping here." "If you want to swim," said Arthur, "hurry up and get your suit on." "We have the whole pool to ourselves," said Arthur. "It's a good thing, too," said DW. "Our bathtub is bigger than this." That night at dinner, everyone ordered lobster. "Buster loves lobster," said Arthur. "This is lobster?" said DW. "I want a hot dog." "Can we go to the beach tomorrow?" Arthur asked. "Good idea," said Father. "I'm sure the rain will stop by then." "No beach today," DW announced the next morning. "I had a dream about Buster," said Arthur. "Why don't you write him a postcard?" Mother suggested. "Why don't we all write postcards?" said Father. "But what do we write about?" said DW. "We haven't done anything yet." "What do we do now?" said DW. "This vacation is a disaster." "At camp, there's always something fun to do," thought Arthur, "even on rainy days." "That's it," he said. "I'm taking us on a field trip." "I never heard of a cow festival," DW said, but at least it's more fun than our motel room. Say cheese, said Father. Let's hurry or we'll miss the milking contest, said Arthur. For the next few days it rained and rained, but Arthur didn't mind. He was too busy planning new places to go. He forgot all about missing Buster. On Wednesday, they went to Gatorville. At least the alligators get to swim, said D.W. Thursday was busy too. After touring Flo's Fudge Factory, they all went on Jimmy's Jungle Cruise. I never realized there are so many fun things to do in the rain, said Father. I want to plan a field trip too, said D.W., to the movies. But when they got there, D.W. was too scared to watch. I thought it was a movie about fish, she whispered. Finally, on Friday, their last day, the sun came out. What a day, said Father. Just glorious, said Mother. Even D.W. was having fun. No one wanted to leave, but the next day they packed up and headed home. We're almost there, said Mother. Phew, said D.W. I really have to go to the bathroom. Oh, boy, said Arthur. I can't wait to see Buster. As soon as they got home, the doorbell rang. It was Buster. Camp was fun, but I missed you, he said to Arthur. How was your vacation? How did you and D.W. get along? Great, said Arthur. Take a look. Wow, said Buster. You really did have a great time.
Arthur's New Puppy, read by Jeff Probst.
Arthur loved his new puppy, and Pal loved Arthur. He's a very active puppy, said Arthur. He's a very naughty puppy, said D.W. Don't worry, said Arthur. I'll have him trained in no time. Here's your new home, said Arthur. You'll have the whole garage to yourself. But Pal didn't like the garage, and as soon as Arthur put him down, Pal ran and hid. He feels lonesome, said Arthur. Can he stay in the house? Please, please, please? Oh, all right, said Mother, but only for a day or two. Arthur made a cozy spot for Pal in the kitchen. I thought you might need a few newspapers, said D.W. Arthur held Pal carefully, the way his puppy book showed. Look, he's so excited, said Arthur. Look at your pants, said D.W. You have excitement all over them. Oh, it's okay, said Arthur. He's just a baby. Well, I think baby dogs should wear diapers, said D.W. Later, Pal ate his dinner in a flash. Uh-oh, said D.W. He has that look in his eyes again. Quick, said Arthur, his leash. But when Pal saw his leash, he ran and hid. I don't think he likes his leash, said D.W. Help me find him, said Arthur. I guess he didn't have to go after all, said D.W. I was wrong. No, you were right, said Arthur. He just went. Later that night, when everyone was asleep, Pal yelped and howled until he woke up the entire family. Go to sleep, said Arthur. Pal wanted to play. Don't forget to close his gate, said Mother. Good night, said Father. Good luck, said D.W. The next morning, Arthur was still in the kitchen. Wake up, sleepyhead, said D.W., and be careful where you step. Oh, no, said Arthur. I forgot to close Pal's gate. Here's your scooper, said Mother. You think this is bad, said Father. Wait until you see the living room. Pal looked very proud of himself. My new drapes, cried Mother. My doll, screamed D.W. Bad dog, said Arthur. Pal is moving to the garage, ordered Mother. Here's the key to the garage, said Father. I'll help you move his things after dinner. And Father put the key on the hall table. Arthur packed up Pal's things and went to get the garage key, but it was gone. The whole family searched for the key. Pal watched. "It has to be here somewhere," said Mother, but the key was nowhere to be found. "Looks like you can stay in the house one more night," Arthur said. "I heard Mom and Dad whispering," said D.W., "and Pal's in big trouble. They said he better be trained soon, or else." "Shh," said Arthur. "You'll hurt his feelings." That night, Arthur remembered to close Pal's gate. At school, Arthur told Francine and Buster about training Pal. "I'm going to teach him to do all kinds of things," said Arthur. "Yeah, I used to have a puppy too," said Buster. "But he was too much trouble. My parents sent him to a farm." "Well, my cousin had a problem puppy," said Francine. "No one could train him. One day, he just disappeared while she was at school." After school, Arthur hurried home. "Oh no," said Arthur. "What happened?" "I thought I'd take him for a walk," said D.W., "but when he saw the leash, he went wild. You better get this cleaned up before Mom sees it." "Where is Mom?" asked Arthur. "In the backyard," said D.W., "looking for the garage key." "Have you seen my dog training book?" asked Arthur. "Yeah, what's left of it is over there," said D.W. That night, Arthur gave Pal an extra training lesson. "I'll help you train this beast," said D.W. "Let me get my whip." "No," said Arthur. "Dogs respond better to love." "Watch," said Arthur. "He's getting better." "Sit," said Arthur. "Lie down," said Arthur. "Stay," ordered Arthur. "I know something he'll understand," said D.W. "Time for your walk, Pal." "He just needs a little more work, that's all," said Arthur. But Pal needed a lot more work. Arthur set up a training school in the backyard. On Monday, they worked on sit. On Tuesday, they worked on down. Wednesday was stay day. By Thursday, Pal was doing tricks. "Good dog, Pal," said Arthur. Arthur decided to put on a puppy show for his family. "When they see how well you're trained, they'll never send you away," said Arthur. Arthur got up early Saturday morning to give Pal a bath. After breakfast, Arthur's family took their seats. "Welcome to Arthur's Puppy Show," said Arthur. He held his breath. "What you are about to see will amaze and astound you." "If Pal amazes us any more, our whole house will be destroyed," said D.W. Arthur clapped his hands. "Come," he said, and Pal came. "Sit," said Arthur, and Pal sat. "Down," said Arthur. Down went Pal. Pal even did a trick. "Good dog," said Arthur. "He is a good dog," said Mother. "You mean he won't have to live on a farm?" asked Arthur. "Of course not," said Father. "Not even in the garage." No one noticed Pal run behind the rose bushes. When Pal returned, he sat up and wagged his tail. "Look, he has something in his mouth," said D.W. "It's the key to the garage," said Arthur. "Good boy, Pal," said Father. "Amazing," said Mother. And that night Arthur gave Pal a special dinner. "It's time for your walk, Pal," said Arthur. "I'll get your leash." But Arthur couldn't find it anywhere. "It was on the hook a minute ago," said Arthur. "I know I left it there." "I'll help you look," said D.W. Mother and Dad helped too. "It has to be here somewhere," said Arthur. No one noticed Pal run behind the rose bushes.
Arthur Babysits, read by Tom Arnold.
Arthur's sister D.W. had a problem. "The Tibble twins are visiting again, and they're driving me crazy," she said. "They're everywhere I go." "Oh, they can't be that bad," said Arthur. "How would you know?" said D.W. Later that afternoon, Arthur and D.W. took Kate for a walk. "Look," shouted the Tibble twins. "There's D.W." "Oh, no," said D.W. "Quick, let's hide." Mrs. Tibble looked worried. "I'm in a terrible pickle," she said. "I need a sitter for my grandsons tonight, and I can't find one anywhere." "Arthur can do it," said D.W. "He babysits me all the time." "Oh, Arthur, you're a lifesaver," said Mrs. Tibble. "I'll call your mother and set it up right now." "Babysitting is such a big responsibility," said Arthur. "I'm a little nervous." "You'll do a fine job," said Mother. "We'll be right here if you want to call us," said Father. "Here's my crash helmet," said D.W. "You'll need it." "Why?" asked Arthur. "Are you coming along?" "Huh, you think I'm trouble," said D.W. "Just wait." On the way, Arthur walked by the sugar bowl. "Hey, Arthur," called Buster, "where are you going?" "I'm on my way to babysit for Mrs. Tibble," said Arthur. "Not the terrible Tibble twins," gasped Prunella. "My sister babysat for them once, and once was enough." "You can always back out," said Buster, "while you're still alive." "Don't worry," said Francine. "It will be just like babysitting D.W. and baby Kate." Arthur remembered what that was like. Now he was really worried. Mrs. Tibble was waiting for Arthur. "I'm so glad you're here," she said. "And so are the twins. This is little Tommy in red, and Timmy's in blue. Almost bedtime, darlings. I'll be back soon." "Very soon, I hope," said Arthur. "Nighty-night, Grammy," said the twins sweetly. "She's gone!" screamed the twins. "Playtime!" "No, bedtime," said Arthur. "We're not sleepy," said Timmy. A phone rang. It was D.W. "I called with some advice," she said. "Calm them down with a quiet game, like cards." "Thanks," said Arthur. "Bye." "How about a nice quiet game of cards?" asked Arthur. "Great," said the twins. "We know a really good card game," said Tommy. 52 pickup, they screamed. Just then the phone rang again. It was D.W. "Sounds like they're out of control," she said. "You need to show them who's boss." "Thanks a lot," said Arthur. "Let's play cowboys," said Tommy. "I'll be the sheriff," said Arthur, "because I'm the boss." "And we'll be the bad guys," said Timmy. The next time the phone rang, Timmy answered it. "Arthur can't come to the phone right now," he said. "He's all tied up." "Time for hide and seek," called Tommy. "You'll never find us." When Arthur finally got loose, he searched and searched. "If I don't find them soon," he thought, "I'll be in big trouble." Just then the phone rang again. "What's going on over there?" asked D.W. "Shouldn't they be in bed?" "I can't talk now," said Arthur. "I'm looking for the twins." "You mean you lost them?" shouted D.W. "Not exactly," he said. "I just can't find them." "You're in really big trouble," said D.W. "What are you going to do?" Just then Arthur noticed the curtains wiggling. "You'll see," he said. "I sure hope I find them before the Swamp Thing does," he added loudly. "Swamp Thing?" asked Tommy from behind the curtain. "Yes, the one that comes out on nights just like tonight," Arthur said. "Sit down and I'll tell you about it." Arthur used his spookiest voice. "Once in a dark, spooky swamp, there lived a horrible, big, slimy, stinky green swamp thing," he began. "You mean like a monster?" Tommy asked meekly. "Exactly," said Arthur, "with long, sharp teeth. And the swamp thing realized it was very, very hungry," said Arthur. "It left the swamp in search of dinner." "What did he like to eat?" Timmy asked in a shaky voice. "Boys," said Arthur, "especially twin boys." The twins moved closer to Arthur. "The swamp thing began to moan from hunger," continued Arthur, "until it came to a big old house, just like this one." "I hear footsteps," cried Timmy. "It's only your imagination," said Arthur. "Want to sit on my lap?" "Well, just for a minute," said Timmy. "Slowly," whispered Arthur. "With its big, slimy, green hand, the swamp thing opened the front door. 'I smell dinner,' it said. It licked its lips." "Help!" screamed the twins. "It's coming in our front door," yelled Timmy. Just then the door did open, and the lights went on. "I'm home," said Mrs. Tibble, "and look at my little angels. Arthur must be a wonderful babysitter." "He's not scared of anything," said Timmy. "And he tells great stories, too," said Tommy. "We want him to babysit again." The twins hugged Arthur good night. Then Mrs. Tibble paid Arthur and thanked him for doing such a fine job. When Arthur got home, D.W. was still up. "You're home early," she said. "Did you get fired?" "No," said Arthur. "Babysitting isn't so bad. Mrs. Tibble thinks I'm pretty good at it. Now she wants me to babysit the twins every afternoon right here in our house. And since you know so much about babysitting, you can help."
Arthur Lost and Found, read by Kevin Bacon.
"What are you supposed to be?" asked Arthur. "I'm mashed potatoes," said D.W., "in the Festival of Foods at school tomorrow." "Gee, too bad I have my swimming lesson," said Arthur. "You'll have to take the bus to your lesson," said Mom, "and I'll pick you up." "All by myself?" asked Arthur. "We've taken the bus before," said Mom. "You know how." "Maybe I'll ask Buster to come along," said Arthur. "Good idea," said Mom. On the way to school, Arthur invited Buster. "You mean the real bus?" asked Buster. "The one that goes all the way to the end of town?" "Sure," said Arthur. "We just pay our money and go." "I don't know," said Buster. "I heard about this guy who got on the bus and it just kept going and going and going." "We can study for our science test, and you can watch me swim," said Arthur. "It'll be fun." After school, Arthur and Buster waited at the bus stop. "Did you hear about the kid who didn't have enough money?" asked Francine. "The driver wouldn't let him off the bus." All of a sudden, Arthur didn't feel so well. "Here comes the bus," said Francine. "Good luck." "Exact change only," growled the driver. The boys paid him and quickly took their seats. "Want to study for the test?" asked Arthur. "Not really," said Buster. Arthur took out his science book. Chapter 6, read Arthur. Habits of the Clam. By the time the bus stopped at the pool, Arthur and Buster were sound asleep. "Last stop," called the driver. "Everyone out." "Where are we?" asked Arthur. "Who knows?" said Buster. "I think we passed the pool." "I've never seen this part of town before," said Buster. "We're lost." "Maybe we can find a police officer," said Arthur. "Wait," said Arthur. "There's a place with a phone." But the telephone had a sign on it. "Sorry, it's been broken for weeks," said the man behind the counter. "I'm hungry," said Buster. "I always get hungry when I'm scared." "Now, you're just hungry," said Arthur. They bought 6 chocolate Winkies and 2 cans of strawberry soda and thought about what to do next. Meanwhile, back at home, the phone rang. Arthur's little sister ran to answer it. "Mom," D.W. "We leave Arthur where?" "He's swimming since Mom. It's almost pick him." "Who is?" "And for the pool, C.W. Arthur's in the phone. What there?" "Law," said, "Can I turn Buster tonight? Let's stop, get a bus, Arthur." "Great idea, Buster. Can you loan for the bus money?" "Sure, Arthur. But when I reach pocket, empty." "Oh no," said Arthur. "I spent my money on strays." "We're due," said Bert. "Go to the bus anyway, Arthur. Maybe we get to the barber." Arthur and Bert to the bus. The bus just pulled away. "Oh no," said Arthur. "Wait, wait," he called. The bus squealed to a stop. "What do you kids want?" asked the driver. "We're lost," Arthur explained. "We were supposed to get off at the pool, but we fell asleep, and then we spent all our money on Winkies, and now we can't get home, and I'm really sorry." "Hey, kids," said the driver, "I've heard enough. Happens all the time." "Really?" said Arthur. "Hop on," said the driver. "By the way, my name's Sam." "I'm Arthur. He's Buster." "Let's make a quick stop and give your folks a call," said Sam, "just in case they're getting nervous." "Great idea," said Arthur. Sam stopped the bus right in front of Arthur's house instead of at the corner. "Thanks, Sam," said Arthur and Buster. "See you around," said Sam. Everyone on the bus waved goodbye. When Arthur opened the door, his family ran and gave him kisses and hugs. D.W. was so happy that she hugged Buster, too. "No kisses, please," said Buster. Arthur told his family everything that had happened. "I like the part where you were lost best," said D.W. "That's when I had a new bedroom." Then Dad gave Buster a ride home. That night, when Mom and Dad tucked Arthur into bed, he was very sleepy. "You were smart to figure out what to do," said Mom. "We're very proud of you," said Dad. They kissed Arthur good night and turned off the light. Suddenly the door burst open and the light went on. "What's going on?" said Arthur. "I'm making sure you're not lost again," said D.W. "Good brothers are hard to find." Arthur yawned. "So are good sisters. Good night, D.W." "Figure out what to do," said Mom. "We're very proud of you," said Dad. They kissed Arthur good night and turned off the light. Suddenly the door burst open and the light went on. "What's going on?" said Arthur. "I'm making sure you're not lost again," said D.W. "Good brothers are hard to find." Arthur yawned. "So are good sisters. Good night, D.W."
And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you can learn to work and play and get along with each other. You got to listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm of the street. It's a simple message and it comes from the heart. Believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. And I say,